Hey, how's it going? So today I want to just talk about something, and I don't have the board and all of that stuff, but I do want to say that this is oh heck, excuse me for a second. There will be spoilers. This is entertainment, opinion commentary. Uh, this is not a review really, but I only review shows I like, so pretty much only good reviews will be heard here. And guess that's about it for the oh boy housekeeping. Let me just duck down and pick this thing up real quick. Okay, so the episode what I want to talk about today is an episode of Star Trek TNG, The Next Generation. And I don't have the board and a bunch of information about it because when I watched it, I didn't realize that I was going to talk about it later. And so I didn't bother to remember which season, which episode. And I did try to find it, but couldn't figure out how to get what I could remember concisely into a search bar. So get freeballing. So here we go. In the episode, Deanna Troy is for some reason, well, I guess I didn't pay that much attention. But it's not so much what the episode is about, really, so it doesn't matter that much. There's a situation where she ends up in the engine room because some guy that was part of the crew that built the Enterprise of that show's vintage. I had the word, but it flew away. But anyway, the guy that he worked on building the Enterprise, and then that version, that's a better word for it, I guess. That's not even the one I wanted either. And he also is a crew member since it's been built. And there's some kind of problem, and he is half Betazoid and half human, but hadn't put in his service record that he was Betazoid. So he was kind of on the DL, like screwing with people's minds, like totally, and like committed some murder. And anyway, the reason why I wanted to talk about this episode is because, well, okay, first of all, I'm back to my usual thing, but I'll tell you, it was only because there was nothing on, and I didn't feel like looking for something on any of my platforms, and I just, I don't know, it was just easy. So, come on, brain, kick in. On the show, it's all about Deanna Troy's Betazoid ability, which is, she says she calls herself an empath. And since I have been kind of learning my own abilities as far as being empathic or a little bit psychic or whatever it is, I have learned about the way it manifests differently from person to person. Like, pretty much everyone's unique with what they're able to manifest with their abilities, like what their skill. Hold on a second. I gotta. Okay, sorry about that. I have chosen something to listen to that's got a commercial every other song, and it's like the 4 hour commercial. So, anyway, the focus on the show, on the episode, is really about like abilities and the fact that this guy didn't disclose his Betazoid uh, parentage, and he tricked everybody, and that's how he was able to like murder people. And anyway, you get the gist. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about as far as those things are concerned. What I did want to talk about is the fact that when things started happening, and okay, first of all, on this Navy vessel, Space Navy vessel, they have an officer who is the counselor, but they also use her strategically as an empath, to suss out potential enemies or full on enemies or friends you don't know are enemies, and you get the gist. You understand? But yeah, I mean, she's just an officer on the crew. It's not questioned. Her abilities are not questioned. In fact, as I said, they use her strategically so they know she's an asset and not a weird liability, you know? Not some like sketchy, weirdo, hippy dippy, like she has a talent and it's valued and it's taken seriously. And I just, that's what I wanted to talk about, I guess, is how those kind of things are not really taken seriously by what we consider our authorities, like our government and our clergy or whatever. Like they're all together and saying ghosts aren't real, demons, whatever, are not real, ETs are not real, Bigfoot is not real. Like we got all this stuff, fairies, pixies, like, but none of it's real. There's all this lore going back eons, and as far as like UFOs, there's like petroglyphs. Like they didn't even have language or letters, and they were still scraping out pictures of things that can be nothing else than ETs. And you know, I'm talking now in the present, but also sort of in the past with the attitudes and the beliefs, because while they'll do like a thing where they totally tell you something isn't and is not happening and you're crazy, they actually believe in it and apply it to their work like all the time. Okay, for example, Nancy Reagan fully openly used an astrologer, and knowing what I know about them as a couple, they were definitely co-presidents, and I would say that she was the more uh, aggressive of the two, the more masculine of the two. Just I think she kind of drove him, like operated him like a vehicle drove him. And I think as his problems got worse with his Alzheimer's, there's an interview in the Showtime series, The Reagans, where I probably have even seen the interview. I think it was on CBS, but they're outdoors somewhere on their ranch, and the reporter has asked Reagan a question, and he answers it like he starts to answer it, and then he kind of runs out of steam, and she like supplies the next couple of words, and it's not very subvocal. I mean, you can pretty much just hear it, like I'm sure the reporters could hear it. Um, and that's what I mean by how like she drove him, she operated him. When I think like in the beginning his facilities were just fine, probably, and then as they deteriorated, she became more of a controlling force on him to help him, though not like controlling in a negative sense. But he needed help, he needed guidance, and I think she informed a lot of his conservatism. I don't think he was as extreme as he ended up being due to her influence. But she used astrologers, and if she wasn't just using them for her own purposes, like her own personal what's up with Nancy herself stuff, it was like Nancy and her orbit, including the president. And she's not the only one. I'm pretty sure a lot of our military branches, somewhere in their structure, astrology, remote viewing, you know, psychics, all that stuff that they say they isn't real, don't investigate, like Project Blue Book, perfect example. All these UFOs are flying around, people are seeing them, and regular people see them, and they're like discounted because they're not a trained observer, which, you know, just because you haven't been instructed by some agency or formal group to partition off your thoughts in such a way that you can make sense of them when something dramatic or like even traumatic happens to you, I think that's ridiculous. I think everyone has the capacity to do that. Certainly, they know some training, some tricks, some aids that maybe just like me, raw out of the box, wouldn't know. But I can describe something unusual very well, thank you. So, and so can everyone else. Like the trained observer thing and the experts, like using that to disclude the whole swath of everybody else that actually saw the thing, and then you have some Joe Blow come in and tell you how wrong you are and what you saw isn't, and it's. Oh, I'm just losing all my words. It's deflection. It's like look over here so you don't see what's really happening over here. It's not new, and like pretty much everybody's getting hip to this now. Like we're we've let you lie to us for years. Like we've sat there and seen the evidence and gone along with you and let you call us stupid and let you call us kooks and freaks when you know damn well this stuff we were talking about was real. And I thought about today when I was thinking about making this video how, yes, when people like really understand that what they think they're seeing really is what they're seeing, and like, yes, our people are deliberately lying to us, and for really specious reasons, in my opinion. Like, profit over people is no reason to do all of the things they lie to us and mislead us about that end up causing a lot of us harm, because somebody's somewhere want to profit off of it, off of our misery, off of, well, misery is good enough. It's a pretty good umbrella for what I'm talking about. Um, when they all find out that they've just been lying to us about the extent of their knowledge with UFOs, for instance. Like, I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow, but I think that there are so many people that are open to the idea, and that goes along with the ghosts and the Bigfoots and all of that. Like, to me, it's all of a piece. It's all connected. We're all connected. Human, dead, ET, BF. It's all the same thing. It's like another way that, some of us are darker than the others, and some of us have lighter eyes than the others, or straighter hair than the, whatever it is, it's just another varietal, and it just is a frequency thing. Like, this is what my vibration creates. Bigfoot's creates Bigfoot, a ghost creates the ghost, and it's a creation and a co-creation. Like, our connection means we're all in on all of our stuff together, and unfortunately we're not conscious of stuff like that. And I know I would sound like totally kooky to some people, but to some people I know I make perfect sense. So that's kind of what made me want to talk about the show on the Star Trek and Deanna Troi on the show, and her ability. Like, usually it's just one thing. Like, she kind of gets a feeling. It's not as clear as like a straight out, a full on name, or like the ability to see dead people. Like, she can hear them, sort of, and other people can do both of those things, and other people can do all of those things, or just one thing, but like a really small level of it. There's so many of us. It's like we can all be some part of some level of it, something. Like, it all fits somewhere. But on the Starship Enterprise in the TNG universe, and generally with the Vulcans too, because they too have varying degrees of like psychic abilities, and it's just accepted, though, is what I'm getting at. So it's like more and more of us are, I think, getting our own stuff turned on. Well, not I think so. I yeah, I'll go with I think so. I don't want to explain much more than that. I have reason to believe. How's that? I have reason to believe that everyone's like things are getting turned up a notch or more. I think it depends on your willingness to accept it, like in yourself as well as in general. Uh, because a lot of people, if you watch the ghost shows, they don't believe in ghosts until there's one, you know, tearing up their life because they can do a lot of things that we cannot. And having been us, they know how to like work us, and then they have all this extra power and ability, and it's like being around that will tend to make you believe more, A, and B, if you like maintain that openness of mind and that willingness to accept that something unusual is real and not like, am I seeing things, am I hearing things? Like, I've been in some weird situations and a haunted house, lived in a haunted place, and like I never said to myself, am my mind must be playing tricks. Like, as soon as I heard the thing that sounded like something, and but then it kept turning out twice. After two times, I was like, okay, I know what this is, and it's not my mind playing tricks on me. It's my mind being victim to something playing tricks on me. um, but what I'm getting at is, until it happens to us, some of us don't believe it, but then others of us are more open to the idea. Sorry, commercials, hate them. Anyway, I guess that's pretty much all I wanted to say is that, yeah, the Space Navy, they accept it. In the regular Navy, to them, yes, they accept it. Well, in certain circles, because there's a lot of one hand not knowing what the other one's doing, like within a branch of the military as well as throughout the whole dang government. It's just a cluck, man, and I don't think it's good that they want to keep so much from us, but soon, like, we'll be able to sense more and know for sure more when lies are being told and by whom. But okay, so let me go back, wind it on back to what I started to say earlier about a quote I heard uh, George Bush say in a on his I saw him say it in a TV, or not in a TV clip. What am I saying? I read it, and apparently he was saying something about, if they only knew what we were really doing, they'd be coming after us with torches and pitchforks. Now, in the context I read that quote, I was hanging around with some Q people online, just like to figure out what was the conspiracy theory, and I don't want to talk about that whole thing right now, but it was like, because I was in their midst, that I happened to be steered to this sort of information. So the spin they put on that comment was that the cabal thing with the sex, children, animal, whatever all that garbage is. Or I shouldn't say it's garbage, because for some people, it's very real. But that's what they attributed his comment to. And I think it's more about like all of the stuff they're not telling us about, like UFOs, for instance, because I just saw a show this evening on Netflix, UFO something. It's their new one that came out like this week, I think. I'll maybe put something in the box about it, probably not. But anyway, on it, they mentioned that, then they showed it to a picture of him at the time, George H.W. Bush, as the CIA director. And then when he became president, after that, blah, 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 when he was CIA director, he was privy to certain information about UFO stuff that, well, we sure aren't privy to much of it. And when he became president, I guess because Carter was a Democrat, he decided to cut him out. And then that became like the way that everybody did it, like keeping stuff from certain presidents. And that ain't right either. Like, I don't like that as you know, a member of the voting American public. Like, what kind of crap is that? You cock blocking each other over some stupid stuff. I have a really low opinion of the government right now, our government, all of it. Even the Supreme Court, I'm not happy with them, well, since 2000, because they play games. They're not impartial. I'm sorry, but it's pretty evident if you're looking, and I'm a real big believer in if it looks like it, that's probably what it is, especially now because, again, we're being enhanced in some way in order to to be cognizant of these things, to see them, to catch that it's happening. Although years and in myself, I wasn't like as tuned in as I am now. I definitely would get like a that ain't right feeling, but now with more information, I know more things, but also I just really like. I'm sorry. If it looks like what it is, then that's what it is. And I give it plenty of space. Like I do not just make a pat decision and like that's it. I investigate what I am looking at and thinking about and making a judgment on, because I don't want to. I make myself look like a dumbass, an idiot all the time. Like I make mistakes all the time. So I'm really like I try not to do it much. So I try to do things to avoid making those mistakes and things. So yeah, I am trusting more and more what I see. Like if it looks wrong, it and there's evidence to support it, I'm gonna lean more toward yeah, that's probably the case than oh my mind's playing tricks on me, Um, and that's just me. That's just the way I want to approach things. I just feel like in the upcoming like decade, we're gonna have to be able to discern like what's baloney and what's not. But we're we're in a good like intensive learning course at the moment because we got this situation with this disease, and the way that it gets better or not really depends on how we all react to it and also react with each other in concert to it. And if we can align and get along and agree to do some things that are beneficial for everyone, and then that's going to be a good thing. But the more we resist that, you know, coming together to be able to cure the problem, the longer it's going to take to get there to the point where we can work together to fix it, because now no single one of us is going to be able to do it. If that was the case, then everybody would have listened to Fauci and just done what he said from the beginning. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he said blah 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 and it changed. Again, novel coronavirus, it's new. We have an idea of what it's going to do. We still don't know because it's not done. It's still changing. And that brings me back to my point. If we could all get together and decide to do the good, safe, prophylactic things to protect all of us and then restore our freedom to us, like our actual freedom that we're missing, like the ability to get together in groups and hang out, and but not freedom to just come and dump all your emotional crap on somebody because you feel helpless in the situation. Like, mind your garden, sirs and ma'ams. You got something going on with you and you're upset about it. Everyone does. Like, hi, welcome to the world. But it's not like cool to. Everyone's suffering right now. Like, you think it's okay to just like dump your psycho cuckoo all over people? It's not. It really isn't. I think everyone knows what I'm talking about with like the bad behavior in stores and on airplanes, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I'm immune to it, but I have to be provoked by something real. Like somebody actually has to do something to me to get that kind of reaction from me. I'm not just going to start yelling at somebody because I'm having a bad day and then barf up all of my psycho angst. Not cool. Not helpful. So, don't want to verge off too much into that. I just wanted to say that I think that it's good that more people are opening their minds to the idea of like the paranormal or like psychic abilities or whatever. What can it hurt, you know? Just because they've been telling us for years these things don't exist and they're not real, what do you see? What does your mind tell you? Like, yeah, see for yourself. Don't just disbelieve because they're telling you to. Why would they do that? That's suspect. That I would pay attention to and be concerned about. Okay, I guess I'm done sermonizing. Thank you and good night.